Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video I'm going to talk about my experience with health anxiety cardiophobia due to having COVID back in late December, early January of 2021, January 2021. I had tested positive for COVID. Now, the way that it was handled and the way that it was blasted all over the media with death counters, death tolls, and all this kind of stuff was horrific, and it obviously scared pretty much all of the population. So when I contracted this, I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen to me? Is everything going to be all right? Even though my vitals were always good, the fatigue of it was awful. So, I mean, I remember there was a days long period where like I wasn't even getting out of bed because the fatigue was so bad. Actually, comment down below if you've had it and if you've experienced fatigue like that also, because I'd love to hear your stories. Now, to get into the aftermath and the effect that it had on me after, I remember recovering, just feeling like a little bit weak because I had lost 20 pounds or so just because of COVID and the fact that my appetite wasn't there and I couldn't eat anything. I remember having to carry grocery bags up 3 flights of stairs. And this was probably a couple of weeks removed from COVID, maybe 2 weeks removed from COVID, maybe even a week. I'm not sure exactly the time frame. But I remember going downstairs and trying to pick up a bunch of bags like I used to before COVID, because we men, we just like to grab 70 bags if we could just make one trip. So I remember grabbing a whole bunch of bags, carrying up the stairs, and I just remember my heart pounding. I mean, pounding like it felt like it was going to explode out of my chest. My eyeballs were actually pulsating, and my temples were pulsating. It was something that I'd never even experienced before. I don't know if you even want to call it a palpitation. Obviously, looking back, I think I just overexerted myself because my body was weak, frail from 2-3 weeks of COVID and COVID recovery, losing 20 pounds, not even eating, and just being overall weaker. So looking back, I think that's just probably the case, but subconsciously that scared the shit out of me. Okay, so moving forward, I think that was the trigger for the health anxiety and the cardiophobia. So I also remember then feeling a PVC or a flutter. Now, I can go back a decade and tell you that I've had some form of palpitations randomly throughout that time. Maybe something would happen once a week, maybe something would happen once a month, but it wasn't really that big of a deal to me. As I said in my last video, at least 50 to 70% of the population have at least one PVC a day. So, feeling something maybe once a week, maybe once a month is really not even concerning, not even a cause for concern. I mean, maybe everybody wants to get checked out if they feel something a little bit off. But by all means, I always tell, my stance is if you feel anything, get checked out, make sure you rule everything out and you're healthy, and then just go about your business. But I remember feeling a PVC afterwards, and it just jump-started everything. So, I mean everything. So I'll get into like symptoms. So for me, again, comment if you relate, comment if you feel these symptoms, at least know that you're not alone. And I have felt them, and they have since pretty much all dissipated. But and I'm talking every pain in the books: shooting pain, dull pain, sharp pain, bruising pains, sensations, radiating pains, numbness, tingling in the arms. I mean, all things that if you Google will tell you that you're having a heart attack. So again, as a side note, just don't Google symptoms. If you feel something, just get it checked out. There's no sense in driving yourself crazy before you go see a specialist or a doctor anyway. So I had all these pains. I had skip beats. I had flutter feelings in the chest. I had a couple of instances of faster heart rate. So when I talk about palpitations, yes, I felt faster heart rate, and especially in later struggles with like waking up with nocturnal panic attacks, and heart racing and thumping, and another instance where just from being a little bit excited, felt a heart flutter, then heart was like boom, that just took off, and then for just about a minute, and then just walking around and just calming back down. But again, after you get your reassurances from the doctors and they run all the tests, and for my test, if anybody's curious, I had an echocardiogram, I had multiple EKGs, because every time I step foot in a doctor's office now, my heart rate is through the roof, which I could touch on in other videos in terms of white coat syndrome. But there's times my heart rate in a doctor's office is between 110 to 130, and resting when I had COVID, because of the fear and everything that was surrounding it, my resting was like between 90 and 100. Now, since I've been doing better with all of that, my resting heart rate is pretty much probably anywhere between 75 and 85 when I'm calm. And I think I even had a milestone going to the doctor the last time. My heart rate was 79. Hopefully it always stays like that, but we'll see. I have a follow-up again in a couple of days. But all of those symptoms and sensations I was feeling on a constant basis. When I mean constant, I'm talking 24/7, having these feelings. I remember having the halter on and feeling a skip beat basically every hour on the hour. I'm sitting here with the halter, just pressing it, feeling a skip beat, feeling a hard beat, feeling there just heartbeats is another one. The thump, the thud in your chest, almost like a dropping feeling. And even when I was feeling the PVCs, I was feeling them basically in the base of my throat. And I was like, even when I was going on YouTube and searching, there was like nobody seemed to even have those. So if you feel that and you feel like you can't relate to like a bubble popping sensation or something like that in the base of the throat or center line kind of thing, I had that. You're not alone with that either. Most likely is probably a PVC, and if you're anxious, it just starts a vicious cycle. So you feel a PVC, you get super anxious. Back up a little bit. You feel anxious first, then you get a PVC, then you get an adrenaline dump, then you're more anxious, which causes more, and then thus repeats the cycle. Okay, this is again why these symptoms, even health anxiety and cardiophobia in general, are just symptoms of the anxiety that needs to be dealt with when it comes to the issue of root causes and what caused you to develop an anxiety disorder or anxiety panic to begin with. And that's going to be another video that I get into about root causes and how to search them out. Okay, but back to the symptoms. You guys, when you feel these things, it's really scary. I understand that 100%. If you've been checked out, I'm going to give you guys a quote that I heard that I love, that I pretty much tell myself every morning. And that is, we are very good at painting such a negative picture. We're very good at telling ourselves the worst and that the worst is going to happen. But it's just a feeling. The feeling does suck, but it's not life-threatening. So it's just a feeling. The feeling sucks, but it's not life-threatening, especially if you've been cleared by your doctors. If you haven't been cleared by your doctors yet, call, set up the appointment, go and see them. Okay? And that lasted, as soon as I got the reassurance from the cardiologist that I had no underlying heart issue, and she said it was anxiety driven, pretty much 90%, 95% of the chest and heart symptoms faded away, and some went away completely, except for the PVCs, because I feared them so much. I attached so much fear and an emotional response to them that I was just kind of sitting around and waiting for the next PVC. It wasn't until recently, like months down the road, when I actually even Googled and found out that anywhere from 50 to 70% of the population feels at least one PVC a day. Then I kind of felt a little bit better, but then it changes. Okay, so then it's going to change, and then it goes from being afraid of PVCs to being afraid of flutters and attaching the fear to the flutter. So again, you guys are probably aware. You guys and you girls are probably aware that your symptoms change. They jump around on you. depending on how you respond and react to them. So if you respond well to the PVCs, it's, your heart can flutter, and then you fear the flutter and run after that, and then the what if thoughts come in. And I also want to say the intrusive thoughts. In the beginning of this journey, the intrusive thoughts were screaming in my head all day, every day. Again, I said in I think a previous Instagram video, that it was 24/7 in my mind, a constant screaming. You're gonna have a heart attack. You're gonna have, to where I felt like I was having 6-7 heart attacks a day, which was rough. I mean, that period of when I first started experiencing the physical symptoms, and when I got reassurance from the cardiologist, which was a month later, by the way, which I'm not happy with how that stuff works. I mean, I think they give you a little bit more understanding of what people are going through and schedule you a little bit quicker, was a disaster. I mean, that whole month was a disaster, to the point where I remember getting the reassurance and actually kind of shedding a tear in the doctor's office, being like that I had a new lease on life. But that doesn't mean that your symptoms are going to go away, because as you're going through the recovery process and getting to your root causes, you're still going to have the symptoms. So you just have to practice responding well and responding better to the symptoms. So that's kind of, I guess, where I'll leave it. Please like the video. Please subscribe. Hit the notification bell. I'm still going to be dropping a lot of content. I have a lot of videos lined up, ready to go. If you have any questions, anything that I missed, anything that you may be experiencing, please leave them in the comments, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you so much.